Well, hello there, humans of these earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about the Defender Mark 1, the brand spanking new autoloader, fresh to Blitz, and it's a tank that I'm hugely enamored of. It's not a surprise, really, because it is quite... It's a combo of things that I really like. It's a British-style medium tank at tier 8, like a Centurion Mark 1. It also features the kind of turret that tank over there, the Carnarvon, has, but it's got an autoloader that has 4 in the clip, so I can hit a tank like the Carnarvon just after he's fired a shot, put 3 in, and only take 1 back. Now, it is a fantastic vehicle. I find it very much an attractive proposition. It's also a tank that is probably competing more with something like the Progetto Mark 46 than the Centurion Mark 1, because to be honest, it just kind of outclasses the Cent now. It makes that obsolete, which is a bit disappointing. But the ability for it to fire off 4 shells at once with a gun that's got .305 dispersion when all kitted out, and a very, very, very good 226mm of AP pen while delivering 190 alpha, wow, it's very, very good. The one big downfall, obviously, is that it, like the Cent, is a very mediocre mover in terms of getting around the map. The problem with it, for me, is more an aesthetic thing than anything else. I hate the engine noise, because it sounds like it's got to top gear and it's about to go into another gear, but it just never gets there. It goes, and I'm waiting for the clutch to kick in. I go, and it never gets there, because obviously but it does look spectacular. That's not an aesthetic thing, that's an audio thing. Here's a far too overeager AMX AC48. Who you can see traverse-wise, very solid, very nice, very nimble for a tank that is this heavy. And I've done a lot of kills with this tank where I just tap them out and ram them a little bit with the last little touch, because it isn't a it's not a light tank. It's 45.16 tons, which is fair enough. 46 kilometers an hour is your top speed, and your actual traverse on the hull is 60.65. So fairly nimble. It's like an auto-loading Carnarvon Cent cross. It's quite strange. The thing I would say that I think tips it a little bit over the edge is the fact that it has this gorgeous gun that also has 10 degrees of gun depression and a very strong turret, like a really strong turret. I'm going to show you a game in just a wee while from one of the subscribing humans, and that game features a large amount of damage. Now, I struggled to get that much damage going on. The last cheeseball is the bloke who sent the video in. But I had a lot of really good games. I think it was running at 75% after about 20 games or 16 games, and maybe I screwed up the damage, the percentages after that. But having 4 in the clip makes it feel like an old style PC bat chat. Like, that's how it feels. I know it's not as many in the clip as that, but it is very, very rare in Blitz to get a 4 clip autoloader at this tier or around this tier. Any of the big boy tanks don't really have that. And it moves slow enough that I think that's warranted. I still think it's a little bit strong, and my biggest fear here isn't that it is too strong, it's that there's just a generally huge amount of power creep going on these days at tiers 8 and 10, and a lot of it's coming from premium tanks or, you know, new tanks that are encouraging people to spend money on the game. But I mean, it's a business. What are you going to do? I can't really fault Wargaming for trying to make money, and that's, you know, we all buy food and pay mortgages and put the lights on and that kind of stuff. And I'd rather that they actually balanced up a few other things, but for what it is, this tank is very, very good. I'm also experiencing, as you can probably see here, a large amount of packet loss. What's the playstyle like? Well, it's gorgeous. It's hull down, and it's negative being the reloading, the autoloader. It's not a drum automatic reloader like the Progetto or the Pantera is, where the shell just reloads constantly for you. It's a clip that you can dump all at once. 2 seconds reload time between the shells, which means in 6 seconds, like first shot at 0, second shot at 2, third shot at 4, fourth shot at 6, it's 6 seconds. That means you can dump 4 lots of 190 alpha. So basically 800 damage in 6 seconds. And then you've got a huge long reload of 16 seconds if you're running all the consumables. Because you're running AP, you don't lose a lot in terms of having to use APCR, especially not against same tier targets. The tank can really peekaboom. 200 alpha is enough, in my opinion, for a peekaboom tank with 10 degrees of gun depression at this tier. A lot of the tier 8 mediums have exactly that kind of number, like the Panther, the Indian, the Centurion, the STA-1, the 047. Like they all tend to be lowish alpha, like the Super Pershing, 200 alpha, 8 to 10 degrees of gun depression. That's what you get. This thing does that, but it has it in an autoloading format, so you can take out that tank there, put 1 into the Borsig, 2 into the Borsig, jump up here, have another shot already for the Panther. Don't waste another one, just ram him because you are a fat grub. Let's have a look at the armour. This is the last Cheeseballs game, the start of his game. Look at that. That's the turret. This is with 226 millimeters of penetration. Look at it. It's a very, very red turret. And the fact that it's that red and has 10 degrees of gun depression, like the turret gets even redder when you're slightly above people using that 10 degrees to look down. It becomes very hard to pen. It's a lot like the Carnarvon, which I love. And only it's in an autoloader. So I mean, I get a lot of people who also say to me, how can you review these tanks? So like, the tank's in the game. Pretending it's not there is not going to help you from escaping it or it shooting at you. What you really need to do with something like that is figure out what it does and what it doesn't do. And knowing a little bit about the tank will actually help you to beat it. There is a deal at the moment, which is 25,500 gold on the Asia server, which is the Defender Mark 1, the T28 Defender, and the IS-3 Defender, which is like, that's really good value. That's basically about 30 bucks a tank for 3 tanks at tier 8 that are just outstanding. That gives you a TD, a heavy, and a medium. And I mean, I don't usually spruik Wargaming deals, but this is an outstanding medium. The IS-3 Defender is an outstanding heavy, and the T28 Defender is a very good TD. And I mean, if you were going to buy a packet rather than buying $175 tank, which is what a lot of these premiums these days seem to cost, you could spend 30 bucks a tank and get 3 tanks at tier 8 that you could play for a year, and find to be really, really enjoyable. I don't spend any money on alcohol. I don't go a whole lot of places. Like, for me, this would be amazing. Anyway, that's my finish. Let's look at the last Cheeseballs game. He's gone high here after clearing the med flank. It's 2-on-4, and this is where this tank really does excel. Autoloaders are really good at the end of games when you've got a lot of very low hit points, 1 or 2 shot tanks left to go. And what it allows you to do is this kind of thing where you can run in, absolutely pulverize someone, burst them down, absolutely clip them out, and then just hide for 16 seconds. 16 seconds is not a long time in Blitz. It really, really isn't. It's not hard to get 16 seconds worth of cover. I mean, it's not always perfect. I don't know what that guy was doing, by the way, but you can see there, he's gone for the HE rounds, and look at this for devastation. Oh, goodness gracious me. 1,200 damage right there. I think he might have been experiencing just a touch of desync, and now we're up into what is a tough gig. But here's the thing, Tankenstein doesn't have great DPM. This tank has about 2,100 DPM. That's more than enough to do the job. Like, you can take one and then just start pumping. 1 pussycat, 2 pussycat, 3 pussycat, 4 pussycat, and I'm out of there. And then you're just going to wait and then do the whole thing over again in another 16 seconds. This is the beauty of an autoloader with 4 in the clip. Even though it's a long time between shells and it's not the fastest tank in the game, it is very, very good at this kind of cleanup duty. I hope you enjoyed the review. I understand if people get upset about this. Everyone's got their own prerogative. It's not always going to be to your liking. but I think it bears repeating what this tank does, what it does well. The weaknesses being the reload and the mobility. Apart from that, man, this is just very, very strong. Look after yourselves, boys and girls, and as always, stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.